Hi everyone. Today we'll be talking about money management. In one of my previous videos where I mentioned 5 habits that are significantly improving my life as a young person, I mentioned how I manage my money, how I calculate my funds every month, and a lot of people requested that I talk more about it and share the sheets that I use to manage my money. And that is what I'll be going into today. We'll be talking more about managing your money, and I'll be sharing with you the sheets that I use so you can also use it to manage your funds every month. Firstly, I would like to mention that this sheet is used to manage your personal finances. So for those of us that have businesses, this sheet doesn't work for your business. You can actually tweak it. You can edit it or however you like to suit your business, but it's mostly for managing your personal finances. That's money that you spend on yourself on a monthly basis. Now, for many of us, we get money, could be salaries, could be funds from our business that we pay ourselves, or we get money from one place or the other, and we just spend month in, month out, week in, week out, day in, day out. We're just taking money out of our account. We're just spending, and we're not taking time to go back to our account and actually look at how we are spending our money. We have no idea, zero ideas about our money habits, about our spending lifestyle, zero idea. And that's because we don't take time to visit our finances, visit our accounts, read through our account statements, and monitor our spending. So that is what this sheet will help you do to make the most out of it. Once you get your salary, or before you get your salary, for those that work with salary, you already have an idea of how much it is. You would go into the sheet and you would budget for the month ahead. That's the idea of the sheet. So whatever needs that you have, whatever contributions you need to make, whatever your financial plans are, you would go into the sheet and make those plans and see them before the money comes in. That's the best practice. Another way you can maximize it is that once the money comes in, immediately the money comes in, before you start spending from it, you go into this sheet and you record and you plan it. That's the game changer for managing your finances, guys. That's the game changer. Once you get your money, or before you get your money, you budget it and you plan it. It's not a lifestyle of, oh, I get money and I'm just spending and spending and knowing that money is remaining in my account. That's not how you get familiar with your finances, and that's not how you take control of your finances. The way you make the most of your money, the way you get better at managing your money, is if you are familiar with it, which is what the sheets would help you do, especially if you are consistent, right? Consistency is the magic to anything. To get better at anything, you have to be consistent at it, right? So same goes with your money. Make it a habit. I mentioned in that video that every weekend I revisit my account and I try to document them and go through my spending for the week. And lately it comes naturally now. So now I don't even wait for weekends. Sometimes in the office, I just open the sheet and just go through it and, record some recent spending, or just look at it and get more familiar with it. So now it's kind of a habit that's become a part of me now. But you can start with doing it weekly, every weekend, and before you know it, it becomes a part of you. So that really is the magic behind getting better at your finances. Okay, now this sheet that I'll be sharing with you, which is what I use, is a very simple sheet. Very simple, very relatable, right? So before I created the sheet, I got a lot of sheets online. I got some from friends, and they were helpful, but I couldn't quite relate with those sheets, right? They were just far-fetched from my actual lifestyle, from my actual practice. So I just decided to come up with mine, and so far so good. It has really helped me. At least I've been consistent with it since January. So it has really helped me get familiar with my money and manage my money better. So I'll be sharing the sheet with you. And why I mention that is because you are also allowed to edit the sheet. If it doesn't suit your own lifestyle, it doesn't suit your own practice, please go ahead and edit it to suit you. This thing is personal. Your money habit is personal. I can talk from now to tomorrow, but you will do what works for you. You cannot be in my shoes and I can't be in your shoes. So you just have to edit it to suit your needs or your lifestyle. But the thing that the major thing that applies to each and every one of us is you need to monitor your spending. Go through your account history, download your account statements, read them, calculate how much you spent, and ensure that you are getting familiar with your money. The more you do that, the more you know what you are spending so much money on. It's no longer a case of, oh, I don't know where my money went to. That's not happening with you anymore, because now you know, even if you are spending on a random thing, you know that, okay, I still have some money somewhere. You just know that, okay, somehow it is intentional, though it may be unintentional at that time. All right, here is the simple sheet. I told you guys it's a very simple sheet, very straightforward, very easy to understand, and very relatable, at least for me. Let me take out this figure first, and then you see what the sheet looks like at a glance. There are 5 tables. Okay, no, there are 6 tables on this sheet, and I'll be explaining what each table stands for. Now, ignore these errors that you see here. They would automatically pre-fill with the formula that I already created for those cells once I start inputting the figures in the sheet. Now, the first thing is your salary. Salary being salary, or whatever money that you're expecting, whatever money that you want to plan and budget for. Now, this sheet is used for one account. That's the major accounts that you use for your personal expenses. You could duplicate this sheet for your other accounts if you would want to monitor those ones also, or you can duplicate the tables in the sheets to also serve for your other accounts. That's up to you. Now, the second cell, which is the savings, this is actually a formula. It will calculate based on the salary minus your total expenses. You'll get the savings. The total expenses is a total of everything that you've been putting in this table. As we proceed, you would understand it better. And now this total on top of each table is the sum of all the items in each table, in every single table. And underneath it, we have the percentage of salary. This one shows you what percentage of your salary each of the table takes up. That would also guide your financial decisions better. The first thing that you input in the sheet, like I mentioned, is your salary. Let me input a salary here so the errors clear out and you can see it better. Now, this is assuming earning a salary of 300,000 or expecting some money of 300,000, which I want to use for the month. This first table, which is called expenses, is for all your expenses that do not apply to you personally. So every money that you are spending, but not on yourself. Okay, so that could mean sending money to family, contributions for one thing or the other, maybe a friend's wedding, and all of those contributions that come up, contributions now that are not investments. That's not ajo. Nigerians, you understand what I mean by ajo? Ajo is some form of saving. So that doesn't come in here. That's not an expense. All right. I'm talking about expenses that the money is not coming back to you. Your recurring expenses also come into this table. For me, my first and primary recurring expense is family. That will be the first thing I put in here. And then I also impute the amount that I intend to send to my family for this month. Okay, so assuming I want to send 50,000 to my family, I can now see the total here has been updated. I just have 50,000 here, so I have a total of 50,000, and I can see that this is 16.67% of my salary. Now take note, this is just a sample figure. 300,000 is just a sample figure. Don't think, oh, you need to earn so much before you can use this sheet or before you can manage your finances. Don't have that mindset. No matter the little amount you're earning, no matter the amount or how little you think it is or how huge you think it is important for you to track it so you don't end up not knowing where your money goes to. So you can see in this cell, it says C4, which is the total amount, divided by G1, which is salary, times 100%. That gives us 16.67%. Same thing applies to all the other percentages, as you can see for the other tables. Let's say I also have a contribution to make for a friend's wedding. Let's be real, these things happen. A friend is getting married, you would have to contribute. No, let me not say have to, it's not compulsory, but you may want to support your friend. It's good for you to record that also, so that you would not overstretch yourself. Okay, you will see at a glance how much money you have and how much you can spare for this type of things, not in a way that will hurt you or hurt your finances, but with money that you can easily let go of. So this is a total of 70,000, which is 23.33%. And you can see that the savings has been updated. Now it shows that I have 230,000 left from my salary and 70,000 in my total expenses. For some of us, me inclusive, we also send money to our siblings, our younger siblings, I don't know, to support them in school or stuff like that. You should also impute that in here. Let's say I intend to send 5,000. That's 75,000, and I have a total of 25%, right? And I have 225,000 remaining in my account. Now to investment. I intentionally made this green because investment is where your money grows. I mentioned in my video that I invest in mutual funds. For some of us, we could have other forms of investment in stocks, in other areas. This is where you fill that in. I would just like to mention that it is really good for you to have some form of investment. It helps with your finances. Your money is just there and is, building interest for you. No matter how little, is building interest for you. So research and try to get to know more about different investment platforms that you can use. I use mutual funds with Stanbic IBTC and it has been good so far. Let's say I want to send in 100,000 for investment this month. Now that's 33.33% of my salary, and I have a savings left of 125,000. I can now see that I've already gone past half of my salary. I've spent 175,000 and all I have left is 125,000. This means I need to be more careful with my finance going forward, with my planning going forward, which is why I emphasize that this should be done before your money comes in, or once your money comes in, before you start spending from it. I also encourage savings. Savings is different from investment. Savings is money that you can easily access. Investment is money that you want to leave for a long time. It is not advisable that you just touch and take out of your investment money anyhow. So that's what the savings is for. Money that will save you. That's the idea of your savings. Okay. For savings, I want to have 50,000. That's a total of 150,000, which is 50% of my salary. Not very realistic. Not very realistic. It's usually advised to have 20% of your salary for investments and savings. But here we have 50%. Now, for some people, it's quite realistic. For some people that don't spend as much or maybe earn much more, it can be realistic. Even for you, it can be realistic at some time of the year, in some particular months. It can be realistic, but let's just take that out because we still have some other things to fill up. So I can decide that instead of sending 100,000 to my mutual funds, let me just reduce that a bit and make it 60,000. Let's take savings to 40. Okay, still on 33.33%, but let's leave it at this first and go on to fill up the other tables. This is still a budget. This is a plan. So I can always come back to edit the figures in here. The next table is for personal expenses. This is money that you'll be spending on yourself for that month to get the things that you need. Your feeding, transportation, If you want to get dresses or outfits, you want to get shoes, things that apply to you. Ladies, you want to get bags, you want to get jewelry, perfume, skincare, all of that in this table. Every single one should be budgeted and planned for. The first thing on the list, as you can see here, is feeding and spontaneity. The feeding being eating, the money I plan to spend on eating. This includes food that I'll be cooking and preparing myself and food that I'll be buying from restaurants. All right, all budgeted. Now, spontaneity being anything, unforeseen circumstances. So, but no, not really unforeseen, but I can literally spend on anything. While walking down the road, I can just see a bead that I like and decide to get it, or an earring that I like that was not planned for and decide to get it. Okay, so that's just feeding and spontaneity. For this, I could say, oh, I see that I have 125,000 left, so let's just make this 50,000. Okay, I also want to get some outfits, some dresses. Dresses might cost me about 10,000. It's a lie, yo. In this Lagos tailors are expensive, so 10,000 is not even reasonable. But let's just have that there first. I also want to get some shoes. Let's say about 5,000. I also want to get my skincare. Let's say 10,000. Anything else that you would spend on comes into this list, okay? Feeding and spontaneity has a special table on its own. The table here calculates your feeding and spontaneity. Now, the fact that we said be spontaneous is for spontaneous spending doesn't mean you won't also monitor it. You would also track it. So you can see that I input 50,000 here and immediately is updated here 50,000. It's showing me amount remaining from feeding and spontaneity. This table is for me to track the feeding and spontaneity money. As I keep taking out of the 50,000, I'm updating it here. I buy lunch, I update it, I withdraw some cash. So cash withdrawal also comes in under this feeding and spontaneity, because except I'm going to use it on dresses, shoes, or skincare, which I've budgeted for. If not, it goes into feeding and spontaneity, because most times cash at hand, we spend them. We just spend them. The cash is available. So you're walking down the road and you just buy. It could be useful things, though. Don't, because I'm sounding this way, it could be useful things. Maybe you need tissue. It's not here in my personal expenses, but I could buy along the road, yeah? So your cash withdrawals also fall into feeding and spontaneity. To show you a sample of how the feeding and spontaneity works, so if I buy lunch, let's say I'm making this plan on Tuesday, for example, and on Wednesday I buy lunch. Remember I said this plan is done before you start spending from your money and even while you are spending from your money. So weekly, daily, you come to update it, right? So as I buy lunch, I come in here to update my feeding and spontaneity table that I've bought lunch. I've taken some money out of the 50,000. So I say, oh, I bought lunch of 3,000. Now you can see that this is how much I have left from my feeding and spontaneity money. I have 47,000 left and I've spent a total of 3,000. I am still tracking it. Withdrawal, I need some cash. I withdraw 5,000. I can see that, I have 42,000 left and I've spent a total of 8,000. As the month continues, I come in here and I update my feeding and spontaneity list. Now, these lists, personal expenses list and the expenses list, they're usually the ones that change the most. Expenses list may not change as much. Unforeseen contributions may not come up as much. It doesn't happen every month, but personal expenses could change. So you suddenly need to repair your phone. You suddenly need to get a new charger, those kind of things. It could also come into your personal expenses. Now, the feeding and spontaneity, like I said, this one has to be updated on a regular. Let's say, okay, I also decide to get a toothbrush of 1,000. So you can see this is how to make the most of your table. Please, 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 I beg you, make this a habit. Be consistent with updating your table. That is how you get familiar with your money. So I can see on this personal expenses that I've budgeted a total of 75,000, which is 25% of my salary. And I can now see that I have 50,000 left in my savings based on this plan as it is, yeah, and spent a total of 250,000. Now to tithes for the Christians is 10% of your income. So for 300,000, that will be 30,000. I kept this in a separate table because this doesn't apply to everybody. Okay, and I also did not put it in expenses because I don't really consider it expenses. Personally, could be different for you, yeah. And like I said, it may not apply to you, or you may have your own should I call it regular offering or contribution you make based on your own religion. So this table serves for that. So let's impute 30,000 for tithes, which is 10% of your income. And now you can see that you have 20,000 left and you spent a total of 280,000. That is huge. Not spent, or let's say you've budgeted a total of 280,000. That's huge. That's really, really huge. I may now decide that, okay, this looks like a lot already. I can now reduce the money I intend to send to family, reduce the money I intend to send for a first wedding, because I can't keep myself. I have to do where my power reach. I wanted to get 2 dresses. I may just get one instead. Or I wanted to get shoes. I can leave shoes this month and get shoes next month, right? For skincare, I cannot. I can't think about it before I start doing the reductions and deductions. Now, take note. Another good thing is we've said your savings should save your life, right? But that money has been budgeted, has been kept aside. It's really good that you have some money left after you've planned your budget. It's really good that you have a considerable amount left. Unforeseen circumstances, my dear. Unforeseen circumstances. Anything can happen. Anything can come up. Things that you did not budget for, things that you did not plan for. And not bad things. Maybe bad, maybe good. But it could be anything. That's what I'm trying to say. So have some considerable amount left in your savings by the time you're done with your budgeting. Okay? Please take note of that. It will help you in the long run. And then if at the end of the month you still have that money left, we would go into that. Now I'll show you what to do with the money left. Now to this last table, this is for your other accounts. I mentioned that this sheet serves for one account that you use for your personal expense primarily, but say you have some cash left in your second account that you might also spend from, and you also just want to, it's just a small amount here, you also want to monitor it, you also want to track it. This little table serves for that. Assuming you get some free cash from somebody into the account, so you have a start balance of 30,000. Or you have a start balance of, let's say, 20,000. Let's make this 20. Yeah. Now, once you've imputed that, it shows you the remaining amount. Remaining amounts being that you've not touched the money yet. Yeah. Now, this table doesn't affect anything in this section. There are 2 different accounts, so it doesn't affect anything in this section. Once this is updated, and as you're spending from it also, you come in here to register. This table that I wrote here. Anyway, so say you want to purchase something from Temu from that account, not touching your main account, yeah, because it's extra money. You want to do some extra shopping. You can now say, oh, I spent 7,000 on Temu. You impute that here, and then you say that, oh, in this other account, I have 13,000 remaining. I've spent a total of 7,000. And I also want to get some earrings. I want to spend it from this account. I don't want to touch my other account. 3,000. You have spent 10,000 and you have 10,000 remaining. So that's what this table is for. Take notes. You're also going to track it. You're also going to record it. Yeah. Oh, let me not forget data. Data is expensive, but let's just say 5,000 here. All right, so looks like we've come a long way. So far, so good. Remember, ignore this 41,000 that you see here. That's not how much you have remaining. As the month goes on, you are going to finish the money. You are very likely to finish the money. But if you have some extra, I celebrate you. Very good. Now we have only 50,000 left based on our budget here. So I may decide, okay, let's send home 40,000. Because last, if you send 40,000, they can still ask you to send 10,000 later, right? So let's do 10,000 for Ife instead. 35,000 is reasonable. I mean, it's just 300,000 I'm earning, yeah? So that's reasonable. For mutual funds, let's say, let me send in 50 instead. For investment and savings, no, let's leave it at 60. Because it's money that is growing. Savings, let's make savings 30. That's still 30%. I have 45%. Well, this quite serves for now. I can see my money at a glance. Now I can see my strength. I can see my financial ability at a glance. So I wouldn't randomly spend money now, knowing that based on my plan, I don't have much money left. That's the beautiful thing about budgeting and planning your money before you start spending from it. It helps you make wiser decisions. It helps you make better decisions in spending your money. Now, by the time you are getting a dress of 10,000, you're not feeling guilty because I already budgeted for it. You're not feeling bad about it. You are getting things for yourself and you are happy and you are satisfied, right? You're not feeling bad that, oh, I'm spending money on things that I don't know. No, you have planned to spend 10,000 on dress, so do it with your full chest. You have planned to spend 5,000 on shoes, so do it with your full chest. Now, by the time you enter markets, shoes may be more expensive. The one you like may be more expensive. But then you would think, oh, I shouldn't go too far. Maybe I'll just do 7,000. I can add an extra 2,000. Do you understand? So seeing this thing helps you make better decisions. Now, I also mentioned that if at the end of the month, after you spent on your budget and extra spending, unforeseen circumstances, and all of that, you have about 13,000 remaining. So let me update personal. Let's say you bought charger of 7,000. Your entertainment, or I don't know, the things you would like to do for fun should also be planned if you want to do something that month, right? For me, it's not every month. Entertainment, you could call it something else. I want to do 10,000. So maybe I already have a plan to go out with friends. We've already been planning since January, and finally we've decided that we're going out we're doing it this month. That outing is leaving a group chat. Budget for it here. And we've agreed that so amount is the cost. Let me undo that. I come in here and I plan for it. Please take note, every detail should be planned for. If it's not feeding and spontaneity, every other detail should be planned for. As I do this regularly, I can now come to my sheet. Let's say January. In January, I see that I spent 10,000 on, let's say 20,000 on dresses. In February, I spent 20,000 on dresses. In March, I spent 20,000 on dresses. In April, I spent 40 on dresses. I'm like, whoa, I'm spending so much on dresses. Where are these dresses? Do you get? So I'm now knowing that, it seems I spend a lot on dresses. In so months, I should calm down. I can just take a break from getting dresses and use that money on something else. Do you understand? So that's the idea of visiting your sheet regularly. So the fact that I've done for January, February, March doesn't mean I will also go back to look at them. The idea, guys, is to know your money. The idea is to know your spending habits and spend better, spend wiser. Back to what I was saying about the savings. Let's say at the end of the month, after doing all this extra spending, I have 28,000 left. I've finished my feeding and spontaneity money. Maybe I've even spent some extra on feeding that's has surpassed the feeding and spontaneity money. I could either decide to increase this here because of the extra money I've spent on, or the best thing you can do so you can see everything at a glance is to just impute it here separately. So I still had another lunch after my feeding and spontaneity money was finished of 5,000. I impute it in here. We have a savings of 23,000 at the end of the month. Great job, sis. Great job, bro. Now, what do you do with that money? It's not for you to go and spend it anyhow. It's extra money doesn't mean you spend it anyhow. No. You see this list here, or this text here? That's what I do with my remaining money. Whatever amount I have remaining, I send it to my savings. It tops up in my savings. Remaining amounts, we have 23,000. So I come here and I record remaining amount this month is 23,000. Trust me, guys, it may be much lesser than 23,000, but let's just say that. So here I would now say 23,000 transferred to PiggyVest. I use PiggyVest for my savings, the Flex wallet for my savings, because it's also easily accessible and it also gives me some little interest too. But especially for the accessibility, yeah. I want to have my money to save my life when it needs to save my life. When I have an extra money at the end of the month, I also send them to my PiggyVest. Now take note, this list is not the same every month. Expenses will differ. The kind of things you'll be spending on will differ. I cannot be contributing for a friend's wedding every month. Maybe we should calm down. All of you cannot be getting married every month. Yeah, so that's definitely not going to be a permanent thing on my table. But you'll have other recurring expenses that will go into this table. This thing varies per month, but make it a practice, guys. Make it a practice to record your expenses, track them, and get familiar with them. See, you will spend money. It's inevitable, you will spend money. But the best thing to do is to get familiar with how you spend your money. It gives you this confidence. You're more confident about your money. Based on this budget, I'm going to have about 23,000 remaining. If something comes up, I know, okay, I have 23,000 remaining. All right, I can spare 2,000. Do you understand? So it gives you this confidence because you're more familiar with your money. If after the budget, it have choked me, I don't have any money remaining, you cannot kill me. I will tell you I don't have. If something comes up, I know that I don't have. So why will I tell you that I have? Or why will I force myself to do something that I cannot do? Do you understand? It's also advised that once you've made this plan, please do your best to stick to it. Do your best to stick to it. It might not be easy. Yeah. So you may have budgeted 40,000 for family and they're calling you, hey, send us money. Money are finished. Or you know how your younger siblings used to do, they will hype you, they will disturb you. And you budgeted 5,000 for Elijah, but Elijah has disturbed you. And you're like, okay, I need to send him some extra money. These things happen. But then I can now say, okay, Elijah, I sent you 5,000 before. I can still send you some extra 3,000. All right, I still have some savings left. I still have some money to spare because I know. Do you understand? You know your money. You know what you have. You know what you are spending. That is the magic of managing your finances. I go back to my bank app, I check my recent transfers and I update my sheets. Or if I didn't do it for the entire week, by weekend, I download my statements and I check the ones I haven't updated and I update them. So that is the sheet, and this is how I plan my finances and manage my finances. I know expenses have 19.33%. Savings, I'm able to do 30% this month. For personal expenses, I've done 34%. For tithing, 10%. Like I said, if you will need more tables for your other kinds of expenses, please go ahead and copy the table and replicate them. Some sheets have very fancy charts and it makes it very beautiful. I had a sheet like that, but it did not serve me long enough. This was just better for me. It was just very much more relatable for me. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I hope you learned a thing or two from watching the video and from the conversation so far. If you have any questions, you want to understand something better, please reach out to me in the comment section. I'll be there to respond to your questions. If there's anything you want me to talk more about, please share in the comment section. I'll be there to listen to you. I would leave the link to the sheet, to access the sheet or to download the sheet in the description, so you can also have access to it and use it to manage your finances better. Please like this video, share these videos with your loved ones, your family, and people that you want to help grow and do better. Subscribe to my YouTube channel because there will be more amazing and inspiring content coming your way. I'll be talking more about things to help you grow. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.